It's a diffuser kind of day. It's been going for some hours now, it'll be off soon. It's got peppermint essential oil in it and meditation oil blend. And it's quite nice having it running. I haven't had it running for ages. Oh, there you go, look. Turned itself off. Well, that was good timing, wasn't it? It just turned itself off. Not a lot to say today, really. It's damp and windy, and we had a siesta earlier together on the sofa, and I could hear the wind getting up, and you can hear it, the fire, or the wood burner. You can hear it in the wood burner, the wind. I was thinking about the refugees on the edge of the Channel in Calais and Dunkirk, and thinking, and I mean, this is not the worst of the weather that they've had to deal with, because it's not as cold, although in the wind it still feels cold, but they've been incredibly cold up there, but now it's windy up there, and sometimes all they've got, well, they've not even got a tent sometimes. The CRS and the police come along and remove the tents quite frequently, 2 or 3 times a week. They remove their belongings, remove the tents, and just destroy them. And I've been doing it for years, absolutely years, and it hasn't made any difference. And it feels to me like there's a whole institutionalized thing going on with the CRS and the gendarmes, is that they are now just doing it, and it's what they do, and they don't know what else to do. I don't think they're told you must do this. Nobody knows what to do with the refugees on the edge of the Channel. Nobody, so the UK response is the same all the time, and it's the same in France, and it doesn't change anything. And how many times are we told to, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you can expect the same result. So I feel very sad, and I hate it when the weather is the way the weather is sometimes. I used to enjoy listening to the weather. I still do, because sometimes I just think I can't be doing that. I need to switch off from that and carry on enjoying listening to heavy weather. I love hearing the rain against the window pane, and laying in bed at night listening to the rain falling, or the wind in the trees. I love all of that. So I have to just stop thinking what I was thinking about earlier, and thinking about the refugees on the edge of the English Channel, which is an incredibly cold place to be, an incredibly windy place to be, and the only thing I can do is throw some money at it now and again, which is a pittance, really. But it's what I do. There's a friend of mine who travels up. I don't know, probably once every 6 weeks, once every 2 months. She goes up and she's there for about a week, and she's part of Care for Calais organisation, charity, and they just spend all their time up there, helping people charge their phones, supplying them with food packs, supplying them with hygiene packs, replacing tents because the tents have been destroyed. It's constant. It's just constant, and she, I think, finds it absolutely exhausting, because she is constantly replacing belongings that have been destroyed by the CRS, and she does get into arguments with the CRS. They've not arrested her yet, but she's come close to it at times. So yes, that's how the weather is here today. That's how the situation is up in Calais and Dunkirk. And this time next week we'll be heading up to Calais. Takes us about 7 hours to drive up. When we first decided to go, whenever that was, that could have been last weekend. I looked at the long range weather forecast, and it showed snow for the day we were leaving. It's like we've not had any snow all winter, no snow, and then on the day we're leaving, it showed snow. And um, we never travel at this time of year. We don't travel up um, until after April normally, because we've been caught 2 or 3 times, and I've been remembering the time we were caught coming back. I think it may be the time that, as we were leaving Kent, the snow was beginning to come down, and we got to where the lorries now are parked along the A20 in Dover. We got to that point at the end of the M20, and there was a queue of lorries facing us, and snow beginning to land on the ground. And luckily, because the traffic was coming to a standstill, but luckily I know my way around there and managed to get off that road and move round another road and get us to Dover. And I think that, yeah, so that time we were going by ferry, and I think we just drove down ahead of the snow for a long time, but it caught up with us in Rouen. And we arrived in Rouen, and so quite often, I don't know whether it was at the time that the bridge had been closed. There was a bridge that we come up, like a ramp, an off ramp, and we call it a bridge. It probably is a bridge that we come up on the way up to Calais. And there'd been a fire on that, and it was closed for 2 or 3 years before they did all the repairs and opened it. So I think we were already going around Rouen on an unfamiliar route, and all of a sudden it was 6 o'clock in the evening, and the snow was coming down, and it was so cold that the tread marks of the car in front of you were freezing over before you got, as you began to follow them. So you were driving on frozen roads. And it was really slippery, and we were started to go uphill. And I don't know how I knew. I don't know whether I'd done it before, but I knew that I needed to zigzag, which was the only way that was going to give me any traction. And there was a lorry, I don't know, about 100 metres ahead of us, zigzagging. And I can remember zigzagging up this hill and holding my breath that the lorry, also zigzagging, wasn't going to start sliding back, because it was a big lorry and we would have all come unstuck if that had happened. So yeah, this is a sort of rush hour, I think it was. So it's about 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So we carried on. We got to the top of the hill. We crawled along in really, really poor conditions, and we had no idea where we were. And we just kept going, because it was like, you just need to keep moving really slowly, but we kept moving. And then all of a sudden, I don't know how long it was or how many kilometres we'd done, but we came to the service area that was familiar to us, and we stopped. And we stopped there and went and got some food, went across and got food, and Mark was unwell. Was coming down with, quite a nasty cold. So I was the one that had driven through Rouen, and it was me that was going to be driving home, because he wasn't really well enough. We sat there for several hours, I mean, we could have gone in, and we did go into the service station, and you could get in there and keep warm, or we sat in the car. And there's no internet I don't know whether there is now. This is several years ago. There's no internet there, so you can't connect with anybody, or talk to your family and say we're stuck, or you just have to sit it out. And I can remember sitting in a very cold car, and I think Mark, sitting next to me, sort of half asleep, and I'm watching gritter lorries going down, snow ploughs going down, backwards and forwards. And eventually, I think it was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, the it was looking like the road was beginning to be cleared more, or that you could travel on it. And we decided that we would leave. So I'm watching, because he's in and out of that kitchen and in the bathroom. I don't know what he's up to. So we left, and I drove all the way home because he wasn't well enough. And my memory is of driving along through driving snow, and all I could see was the one carriageway that I was following, so the dark carriageway that I was following, and snow coming towards me like this all the way home. And we got to within 3/4 of an hour from home. It's 3/4 of an hour hit to get here from the auto route, and we came off the auto route down through the toll, through the it's not a toll, what is it, péage, down through the péage, and started, and I went round a roundabout, and we'd left the snow behind by Le Mans, which was great, you know, so I was back on normal roads. Left the snow behind because we weren't far enough south, and came off the roundabout, and the lorry behind me flashed his lights because I'd taken the wrong track. I'd gone on the wrong part of the road because I was so tired. I shouldn't really have been driving. I mean, by then it was about 4 a.m. and I'd driven through Rouen, so I'd driven for several hours. So, yeah, that's one of the times we came back and got caught in snow. I don't remember what time of year it was. We got caught in snow going up and couldn't go any further than just north of Rouen, and had to come back again, having to wait for the road to begin to clear. Sitting in the car, and it was -5. And that would have been a time when my dad was alive, and I think we weren't able. I was going up to see him because he was really sick, and we weren't able to carry on. We got turned back. So yeah, not a great time to travel. But the weather forecast now is not showing snow. It's showing -2 on the morning that we leave, and I can't see any snow in the days around it. So I'm hopeful that we will have a reasonable journey up. I'm not looking forward to going up. Looking forward to being there. See a few people. I've spoken to my son this afternoon. He says he'll come down. Probably come down for one of the days we're there. So it'll be really nice to see him. So that's it really. I haven't let the chickens out very far today because it's not very nice weather. Ivy's still fine. Hasn't bumped me up the bum again. And I'm just not sure why Mark is clearing up in the kitchen. Something's going on. Oh, I did for lunch for our main meal, I did faux filet, which is equivalent to sirloin steak in the UK. I don't know what it's the equivalent to for a steak in the US. And then I did some very, very, very well cooked, well fried onions to go on top. So some of them were practically black. Well, Mark likes black food. So very crunchy onion rings on top, and sweet potatoes and peas. And I had the remains of a béarnaise seasoning. So I chucked that in the frying pan to mix with the butter and the juices. So that was really quite tasty. Oh, sweet potato. Did I say baked sweet potato? So that was nice. And this evening I'm going to do stuffed avocado, which I've done several times, and I quite like it. I think Mark likes it, but it will be healthy. It will have olives and capers and peppers and tomatoes, and I shall put some sardines and apple cider vinegar in it. So it'll be healthy. It will be following the philosophy of the Fast 800, although probably higher in fat. But then the steak meal was higher in fat than they would have suggested. So that's that. Can you hear the wind whistling? You probably can. Okay, so there we go. And it's gonna be time. It is time. It's time to go and put the chickens away. Don't really need to do much for them now. We've bought proper feeding bin and a drinker. It's like they're just all sorted, and there's no food waste. There's no pellets everywhere. It's really weird. There's less bonding time with them, which is weird. When the weather improves, we'll have a bit of bonding time with them. But at the moment, it's quite nice just to go down there and make sure they're all there, shut them away, and feed some bread to the sheep so she doesn't butt me up the bum, and then come in and lock the shutters. All the shutters get closed, and close ourselves in for the night. So It's Sunday evening. So tomorrow's Monday, for those that don't know the days of the week, and I may or may not see you tomorrow. I probably will. See, I have something to say every time. I had no idea what I was going to talk about, and there you go. That's the story for today. And yeah, see you in the next vlog is probably the safest thing to say.